An Amplesound VST Guitar Giveaway is what I have for you today, and I'm going to give you the details right now. Hi folks, I'm Mike and I hope you're well. Now if you'd like to be smiling just like this little fella is, then you should try and get your hands on Amplesound's new Super Jumbo VST guitar. I've got 3 full licenses to give away for you guys, and I'll be giving details at the end of this video, as well as a couple of ways that you can increase your chances of winning this awesome prize. So stick around for that. But first of all, let's take a look at this awesome new plugin from Amplesound. Would you like a new guitar, little Crash Bandicoot? Of course I would, Mike. I've got one just for you. So I'm very keen for you to hear how this awesome looking plugin actually sounds. But first of all, I'd like to explain to you what you'll be hearing. Now, regular viewers of my channel will know that I like to demonstrate VST instruments in the context of a whole piece. And I've prepared something a little bit interesting today, because the piece is made up of 9 parts in total, and 8 of those parts are actually the Super Jumbo guitar. Let me explain. I have the first part up here, which is the main guitar part. That's mostly arpeggios, and you're going to hear some harmonics in that as well. Then I have a second part, which is a muted guitar, and that's just muted strings, mostly on the bass strings. Then I have 2 parts which make up the lead guitar part. They're played much higher up on the fretboard, and that will demonstrate several features of the guitar, including sort of muted strings, hammer-on slides, and positioning. So that's a pretty important part. Next, I have a strummed guitar, and with that I'll be demonstrating the strummer feature within the actual instrument. Now, the next parts are kind of quirky. I decided to add a percussion part, but not to use another plugin for that. I'm actually using the hits and clicks sounds that you actually get in the instrument itself, and I've divided that over the next 3 instruments, and they make up the guitar hat, which is kind of a mimicking a hi-hat pattern, the guitar kick, and the guitar snare. Now I've put them on 3 separate channels just so I could apply EQ and effects to them separately. Now the last instrument is not the Jumbo sound, and that is a bass guitar, but it is the Ample Bass P2 light guitar, and that is actually a free plugin, so you could download that today from the Amplesound website. Do that later, stay here for the moment. So let's go ahead and listen to the piece of music and try and listen out for all the things I've mentioned, the harmonics, the muted sounds, the hammer-ons, that kind of thing. Now, if you didn't manage to catch everything that was going on there, I've put the beginning of that piece in the timecode in the description, so go back and have a listen again to that by clicking on that timecode. So let's break this down and start off by looking at the main guitar part here. Now what's important on this instrument is I use a number of key switches. Now key switches are a key part of this plugin and all the Amplesound plugins in fact, and they give you the ability to change the tone and the way the guitar sounds. They could be anything from setting the hand position on the fretboard to hammer-ons, muted strings, slides, and all that type of thing. On this particular part I've made use of the hand positions quite a lot, and I've also made use of harmonics. So if we look at the piano roll here, you'll see some funny little notes down the bottom, and these are the key switches. You don't actually hear anything here. In the first one down here, I'm just setting up the main sound, and that is the sustained guitar sound. Here you see I changed the hand position up to around about the 5th position, I believe. And then a little further on you can see I make a key switch here where I play some harmonics. So let's have a quick listen and try and track down the bottom where those key switches are happening. So the second part I'd like to look at is a guitar which makes use of the muted sounds on this Super Jumbo, and it's a really nice sound. It's got a really rhythmic sound to it. So there's not any key switches happening in this one apart from just setting it to the muted sound down here. I would like you to take note of the fact that there's so many velocity changes in here, and this reminds me that in fact I played as much of this as possible by hand on the keyboard and then just did some minor adjustments to the velocities afterwards, but you get a much more natural sound if you do that. Let's have a quick listen to this part in solo. So the next two parts are the lead guitar, which is really just two harmony parts. The reason I played them on two separate tracks is because I wanted to use slightly different articulations on each of them, and I find that easier just to separate it sometimes onto two tracks. It makes use of some muted notes, it makes use of some slides and some hammer-on. So have a quick listen to this one and see if you can see all those articulations happening. So the next part was the strumming guitar part, and this represents a really big part of the functionality of all of the Amplesound plugins, which are guitar plugins. You can create your own patterns here, your own strumming patterns, or you can sort of play the chords by hand. You can set up your own individual voicings for the chords, your own custom voicings. So I've done a fair amount of that here with my own custom voicings of the chords. I've played a couple of bits by hand, and then I've done the rest of it just on this one particular pattern which I created here. So this really deserves a video all by itself as to how I did this, but a lot of it is taken care in this strummer feature here. So the MIDI itself underneath, if we take a look, is actually really simple because so much is happening in the plugin itself. So let's have a listen and see what was happening with this strumming part in solo. So finally we have my quirky little percussion part, which I've made from the Super Jumbo guitar. Now at the top end of all of the guitar instruments with Amplesound, you always have these kind of hits and scratches and things like that. You can hear some of them here. And just for fun, I've put these on three separate parts so that I can make up a percussion part. So just have a quick listen to that. So that's a really quick overview of how I've used this instrument in this particular demo. I should mention there are heaps of other features, of course, in this VST. You have an enormous amount of control here over the sound, and one of the cool things you can do is actually double up the sound. That's something we often do in recording, is record the same guitar part for a left and a right speaker, so that can give you a really spacious effect. And then of course you have the features such as the strummer, which I mentioned. You also have the riffer, where you can put together your own custom sort of patterns on the guitar, and you have a tablature feature where you can actually import some tab. And the really cool thing about the new Amplesound version 3 VSTs are the really nice way they've done the effects. You have a compressor, you have a really nice EQ, you have an echo or delay, which is done in a really cool way, and then you have your reverb, which is a really nice sounding reverb with lots of options to get a different sound. So you get lots and lots of features on this instrument, which I haven't covered all of them today, but I think as you can hear, it's a really nice sounding guitar to add to your arsenal. Okay, so now for the part you've all been waiting for. How can you get your hands on one of the licenses in this giveaway? Well, the first thing you need to do is leave a comment down below and tell us how you would use this VST plugin if you won it. Talk about the kind of music you'd make with it, or maybe a particular song that you've got in mind. We'd love to hear how you would use it if you win. The second thing I need you to do is subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube so that you get notifications about my future videos. Now, this is really important because in around about 10 days time or so, I'll be making a video and announcing the winners of this competition. So you'll want to be seeing that. Now, I did promise that there would be a couple of ways that you can increase your chances of winning in this competition. Now, the first way is to head over to my Facebook page, links will be in the description, liking that page and leaving a comment on the post about this video that you're watching now. Now, the second way that you can really increase your chances of winning this giveaway is to head to my Twitter account, look for the post about this video there, make a comment there and share that post. That will give you 2 extra chances of winning in this competition, thereby very much increasing your chances of getting your hands on this awesome plugin. That's all for today. I will see you guys in the next video.